Getting started. I've got my good friend and audiophile in the chat. Yogurt, how are we sounding right now? Is it good? Okay, great. We're getting started. I'm abandoning a text argument with a friend of mine about politics. And we are getting started on the first Twitch stream. And we are going to be playing a favorite game of mine called You Are Jeff Bezos. Here it is. This is the game. It is a text-based simulation. It came out so that's 7 years ago now. And at the time that it came out, Jeff Bezos' net wealth was $150 billion. So the premise of the game here is that we wake up as Jeff Bezos, and we're going to decide how to spend his money. I actually assigned this game for the first of the classes in my political economy course. And I use this game as a demonstration of what does $1 billion mean? What does that look like? Because we have a hard time understanding numbers when they get a million, a billion, because they're so big. They blend into each other. I think this game is great for that. So that's what we're going to get started doing. Some context, by the way, I looked it up. Jeff Bezos' current wealth, he's the second wealthiest person in the world behind Elon Musk, who is at, as of this moment, $410 billion. Jeff Bezos at $250 billion. So in that 7 years, he has accumulated $100 more billion in 7 years, which is a wild thing to think about. But here we are. And we're going to understand why that's so wild when we understand more about what $1 billion is. Okay. When you wake up this morning from unsettling dreams, ooh, spooky, you find yourself changed in your bed into a monstrous vermin. You are Jeff Bezos. We get to click it. Jeff Bezos' employees are now your employees. His money is now your money. Nothing you say or do will convince anyone you are not Jeff Bezos, even his closest friends and family. What do you do? So we get multiple choice options, so we get to choose. Let's explore a little bit, get a sense of what we're talking about. I go to the bathroom. You go to the bathroom. It takes you about 9 minutes to do all your business. You flush the toilet because any game with a bathroom that does not allow you to flush the toilet is not a real game. Love that. Love that inclusion. In that 9 minutes, you, Jeff Bezos, make $540,000. That's more than 9 times an American's average annual salary and 20 times the median salary of an Amazon employee. Jesus Christ is the one option we get. Yeah, it's horrifying, isn't it? Okay, how do I get rid of all this money? I go to the bathroom again. Not going to go to the bathroom again. How do I get rid of all this money? You cannot invest it, keep it, or earn more of it. You can only spend it. But that's a really inefficient way to use wealth. Let's try it, see what happens. Sure, it's also true that no billionaire just sits on a giant pile of cash. Most of Bezos' wealth is abstracted into stocks, investments, and so forth. But that's not the scope of this simulation. This simulation is about spending all of Jeff Bezos' fucking money. All right. Jeff Bezos' current wealth is displayed on the left. This is, again, as of 2018. Below are some things you might consider spending it on. So the first one is pay off student loan debt, but we can't actually do that because that, as of 2018, was $1.5 trillion. So even Jeff Bezos could not pay off student debt at that time and still cannot. Repair Puerto Rico, $139 billion. Pay for the border wall and then not build it, $70 billion. Pay personal taxes, $57.72 billion. Hire 100,000 new teachers for 4 years each, $22.4 billion. Or end homelessness in the United States, $20 billion. Looking at the list, let's go with the biggest number first and then work our way from there. The U.S. has committed multiple atrocities worth of imperialism and colonialism across the world, and that includes Puerto Rico. So let's get some reparations going to Puerto Rico. You repair every ounce of damage Hurricane Maria has done to Puerto Rico. It will still take some time to enact repairs, and nothing can be done to bring back the thousands of lives lost due to federal negligence, but the island is at last on its way to real recovery. At $139 billion, this action represents roughly the limit of your personal wealth. So good thinking getting this one out of the way first. There are still some smaller things you can take care of, though. Great, let's see them. You get a phone call on your personal line from your main financial advisor, apparently distressed. You ignore it. That knocks out everything else that we had on that original list. What else can we do? feeling bad about not being able to end homelessness right now. Good job decimating a rich man's wealth so far, by the way. You've gone from $156 billion of net wealth to a mere $17,540,000 in a few clicks of a button. If only you could manufacture guillotines this easily. Yeah, really. Double every Amazon employee's salary, $15.8 billion. Support 10,000 artists in residence for 4 years each, $2 billion. Abolish the Electoral College, $380 million. Pay back taxes to the EU, $293 million. And the one that's crossed out here, fund NASA for a year, $20 billion. Let's double every Amazon employee's salary. Let's return the stolen labor back to the people who labored and had the value that they created stolen. You double the median Amazon worker's salary from poverty level $28,000 a year to $56,000 a year, much closer to the U.S. average. Your employees are able to lead lives with slightly more dignity. While you're at it, you implement progressive policies, getting rid of timed bathroom breaks and those hilariously anti-union videos you've been forcing your employees to watch. The cost of this to you is so negligible, I'm not even going to model it. Cool. What next? Let's keep going. Fox News goes unexpectedly off-air, citing existential difficulties. Time names you its Person of the Year. You decline that fair weather bullshit. Amen to that. So we could not do Fund NASA. We did double every Amazon employee's salary. We can no longer support 10,000 artists in residence for 4 years each, at that rate anyway. But we can abolish the Electoral College. We have $1.2 billion left, and we can spend $380 million of it to abolish the Electoral College. Strictly speaking, the only thing necessary to abolish the United States Electoral College is the vote and ratification of 3/4 of the Union, or 38 states, and politicians are very cheap to purchase. An average Senate seat costs $10 million. The fundraising and campaign finance it takes to win a Senate election, but you can win over sitting senators for less than that. The House is a trickier proposition thanks to sheer numbers, but all you really need to do to make the whole thing work is convince Republicans that abolishing a slavery-era system and transitioning to a popular vote for major elections would totally own the libs. Sorry, not sorry, Hamilton. That's right. The squatter in the White House goes on an unhinged Twitter rant, because when this came out, that was also Trump in 2018, branding you a communist, Democrat, fascist with small genitals who is ruining the economy. He calls for your execution. What we have left is pay back taxes to the EU, $293 million, or did you hear something? Let's pay back taxes to the EU. I think there are many better things we could be doing with that money, but I also want Jeff Bezos to pay his taxes, so let's do it. You pay Amazon's back taxes to the European Union, a trivial $293 million, or 263 euro. That's enough to host Eurovision 8 times. Can't beat Lordy. Okay, what next? We're at $527 million still after all of that. Bill and Melinda Gates send a kind yet concerned greeting card asking if perhaps you would like a little advice on how to spend money on poors, but in a moderate way. You burn it. Good. Absolutely good. Don't need that fair weather bullshit either. Did you hear something? A loud crack fills the room as finally your frantic family members and several bodyguards manage to break down the door to your bedroom. A few of your burlier relatives pin you down and take away your laptop. Please, Uncle Bezos, begs a doe-eyed child who is probably actually not your nibbling. Grumbly jibbly tears falling down their cheeks as you are tied to a chair. You've left us with a mere $527,540,000. Mother says we'll be ever so destitute if you do not cease your wretched spending. Do Jeff Bezos' extended family speak like Dickens characters? They do here. What do you say to the child? Sit them down and patiently explain why being a billionaire is immoral? Show them Twitter. They'll end up just as socialist and it'll take less effort on your end. Honestly, that sounds great. As someone who teaches political economy, if I could just get people to look at leftist Twitter for a while, I think it would be far less exhausting. You'd love to show the child Twitter on your own, but tied up as you are, you're left with pointing toward the nearest unattended phone with your big toe. You give your young relative a list of accounts to follow. Within 30 minutes, they are an expert on both the Communist Manifesto and pro wrestling. My work here is done. Back to spending Jeff Bezos' money. You flex your shiny biceps as hard as you can. The ropes binding you to the chair literally burst into so many shreds of hemp. You stand, using a leg of the chair to beat back several bodyguards and distraught adult heirs. When you see a path open, you take it, fleeing into the city streets armed only with your bathrobe, a phone, and a small laptop. It's the best scenes in movies when you're running around the street in a bathrobe with a laptop. After escaping onto the subway, you spare a quick glance at your bank balance and find it still too large for your tastes. Fund 10 animal rescues for 4 years, $200 million. Build 10 new public libraries, $150 million. Finance 100 indie games, $100 million. Reboot Mythbusters, $60 million. Was never a fan of that show. Pay off 1,000 graduate students' loans, $56.6 million, just a fraction of the whole student loan debt. Fix the Flint water crisis, $55 million. Honestly, when I see this, I want to jump at fixing the Flint water crisis. So we're going to do that. You completely renovate the deteriorated water system of Flint, Michigan, freeing its residents from corporate serfdom to Nestle. This sets you back all of $55 million, or less than the cost of a single SpaceX rocket. That is less than 1% of $1 billion. And I had $150 billion. So for significantly less than 1% of my wealth as Jeff Bezos, I could have fixed Flint, Michigan the entire time. Any billionaire could have done that for less than 1% of their wealth, and they did not. Actually, one of my favorite statistics in a horrible kind of way is that in just 2017, just that 1 year, just billionaires, which today are less than 3,000 people, 2017 would have been around the same number. Just billionaires, not the top 10th of 1%, just billionaires, less than 3,000 people in the entire world in just 2017. The new money that they accumulated from just that year, not all of their wealth, just the new money they accumulated from just 2017, from just billionaires, would have ended global poverty not once, not twice, but 7 times. Would have ended global poverty. Devastating. Devastating. I don't see how anyone can defend having $1 billion. I don't see how anyone can believe that is not complicity in a moral atrocity. All right. Literally, this should have happened years ago already. Yes, it should have. And it has never really been fixed the way it needed to. Literally, this should have happened years ago already. You hole up in a dimly lit cafe where no one will question why Jeff Bezos is here in his bathrobe working on a laptop. To help ensure their silence, you pay the college educations of the 3 baristas on duty, $300,000. You also tip well, because labor should be adequately compensated regardless of whether a service worker goes the extra mile for you, $200. And that brings us down to $472 million. Fund 10 animal rescues for 4 years. Let's fund 10 animal rescues to give people learning about the intersectional veganism. We're going to say it's an intersectional animal rescue. For $5 million a year, these aren't your run-of-the-mill animal shelters. These are full-featured rescues focused on providing for abused former circus animals and exotic pets. You know those videos testing whether tigers will sit in boxes and get high off catnip? That's the kind of rescue you're funding. Let the good times roll. So down to $272 million. Still more money than anyone will ever need in their lives. A barista with a lip ring and an Imperator Furiosa tattoo brings you a second coffee. They tell you that what you're doing now doesn't make up for the years you, Jeff Bezos, have spent exploiting your workers and destroying rival businesses. You agree wholeheartedly, since it's not like they'll believe you if you explain you're just a rando stuck in Jeff Bezos' gross plastinated body. What are we going to do now? Let's build some public libraries. Let's get those going. They're being gutted because the right doesn't want anything good that is not privately owned. The cost of a new public library can vary, but $15 million gets you a relatively fancy one. So obviously $150 million gets you 10 fancy ones. Any remainder ought to go toward maintaining the libraries since you built them and all. Books are good. I agree. We're down now to $122 million. We still have over $100 million. The big chunk was repairing Puerto Rico. By the way, different choices will get you different things in this game, and there are 3 different endings. So let's see which one we come up with. Sirens outside. You've learned from the TV that there is a warrant out for your arrest for suspicion of fraud, which under the circumstances seems hilarious. Because Jeff Bezos is the person committing fraud. Your barista allies shutter the blinds to the already darkened coffee shop. They decide to switch off the news and put on anime instead. We're working together now. Love this. Class solidarity. Oh, that reminds you, let's bankroll a second season of Monthly Girls Nozaki-kun. I'm not going to do that or the indie games of the Mythbusters. Let's do pay off 1,000 graduate students' loans. That'll be big for a lot of people. $57.6 million. The average graduate student has $57,600 in loan debt. Your friends are anything but average, of course, but you also probably don't have 1,000 of them. So $57.6 million should cover you either way, plus a few hundred strangers. You spend any leftovers organizing a game studies conference, including covering transportation and hotel expenses for all speakers. Todd Harper does the opening keynote, and Maddie Bryce oversees the wine tasting session. Love the fun in the game. Nice to see the personality. No speakers over the age of 45. Getting closer every year. One of the baristas has given you away. It was an accident. They forgot they left location data on while tweeting on the Bezos is Bay hashtag. Love that. Before you know it, you have the entire local police force at the cafe's front door. This is one reason why we need better data protection. You scan your list for something quick to spend some of Jeff Bezos' money on while the baristas arrange for your escape through the back. Not rebooting Mythbusters. I refuse. For the record, they did not correctly do the myth busting. There's one in particular that almost all their myths they could bust with just math on a napkin or a blackboard. They don't need to go through the whole process of what they're doing. And one of them they just got wrong. It was very frustrating for me. Okay. Anyway, there's no time. You and your barista accomplices race through the city's backstreets, cannily avoiding police blockades and Amazon locker locations. Twice you are nearly cut down by weaponized delivery drones, but you manage to dive out of their firing range just in time. The drones record you as KIA, killed in action, in their online tracking system anyway, thus buying you a precious few minutes. Huddled behind a dumpster, you find the barista with a lip ring has sustained a deep cut to their arm. This is terrible to hear about my barista ally friend. Use your cleanest $100 bills to dress the wound, $1,000. Promise to pay the barista's hospital bill if it gets infected. Let's dress the wound right there and help the barista out later, too. You literally throw money at the problem and tape together 10 printer-fresh $100 bills end-to-end, using them as a makeshift bandage around the barista's wound. They grimace. It's not a great way to dress a cut, but it's probably better than nothing, and they appreciate the fact that you're trying, at least. Make a break for the sewers. Let's do it. Let's get out of here. It's no use. Sewers aren't actually all that spacious, and also manhole covers are really heavy. The police catch up. Love to learn about civil infrastructure in a video game. It's nice. The police catch up to you while you are swearing and nursing your stubbed toe. Maybe you should have run out of your luxury apartment wearing something sturdier than slippers. You and your 3 barista allies are arrested on the spot. Oh no. Stuff is bad right now. The cops have got us. You and your college-aged accomplices are each charged with resisting arrest, the most fascist bullshit charge. Agreed. It's like when they diagnose children with ODD, oppositional defiant disorder. I remember some people talking about if I maybe had that. I remember being, a toddler and thinking that's a bullshit thing. That's not a real thing. You're just making up something in order to problematize me, gaslight me. I didn't have that language, but I remember having that thought. Anyway, the most fascist bullshit charge. Additionally, you are charged with 1 count of destabilizing capitalism, while the 3 baristas are charged with pirating anime. So we can bribe the cops to let the baristas go, $1 million, or we can pay bail for baristas and everyone else in the city's jail system, $227 million. Oof, we already spent down so that we can't pay bail for everyone in the jail system. That would have been really awesome. But yeah, let's bribe the cops to let them go. The cops don't so much as bat an eye before accepting your terms. $1 million, why not? They undo the 3 baristas' handcuffs and quietly destroy the forms they had started to fill out. The 3 baristas flee into the night, off to brew coffee and create latte foam art for many happy days to come. It's a happy ending for them. One of them, the one with the lip ring, looks back over their shoulder only once, locking eyes with you from where you still sit in the back of the squad car. I love the poetry. Then they are gone. Off to jail. Add in processing. Your bail is set at an outrageous $63,635,800. What a coincidence. That's my complete net wealth now. It seems the cops have caught wise and intend to either squeeze you for all you're worth or at least ensure you can't give any more of your money away. Pay the bail or demand to speak with your lawyer. Let's see. What can we do if we get a lawyer talk? Because you are white and wealthy, the law works differently for you. It's also nice to see a video game that acknowledges racism as well as class and capitalism. You are granted a phone call to your lawyer. Unfortunately, you don't know the number to Jeff Bezos' lawyer or even who they are. You realize that if you're going to do anything with this one phone call, that's a movie trope, it's not a real thing, it should be something to try to get rid of as much of your remaining wealth as possible. All right, we can spend more money. What do we spend Jeff Bezos' money on in this one phone call? We already repaired Puerto Rico. Pay off as much as you can of your taxes. Donate everything to the National Education Association. Put everything toward your local homeless shelter. Give it all to NASA. We already doubled every Amazon's employee salary. Create an endowment for artists in residence. We already fixed the Flint water crisis. Pay for your anime. Fucking keep it. I'll represent myself. That's tempting for the drama of it, but I want to donate everything to the National Education Association as an educator. And also, it's amazing to think that people in power are trying to abolish the Department of Education. Let's do it. You donate everything you have left to the National Educational Association, the largest teachers union in the United States. It isn't much, but teachers in this country are unfortunately used to accepting crumbs. While the money can't go directly toward hiring new teachers, you'll be bolstering the union, and you trust they'll use the money responsibly. After finishing your phone call, you return quietly to your cell. If Bezos' Bay is still trending on Twitter, you're sure someone is raising money for your legal fees right now, but you absolutely refuse to use it. There is nothing more that you can do for now. We just wait. We're finally at zero. This is a good feeling to purge ourselves of the karma we've accumulated in this one lifetime. You wait. There is little else to do. You sit and contemplate your admittedly brief existence as Jeff Bezos. This is all less than a day. The unimaginable wealth you struggle to spend, the problems that lay outside even your ability to fix. Was it really worth anything at all to rid the world of one man's billions? Was this really the best you could do? With this thought in your head, you lie down on your hard jail bunk and slowly you drift off to sleep. What ending are we getting? When you wake up this morning from unsettling dreams, you find yourself changed in your bed into a monstrous vermin. You are Elon Musk. And that is the true end. There's also a good end and a bad end, but we got the true end, happy to say. And 2018, I don't know Elon Musk's net wealth, but today, that's another $410 billion to spend. So think about all the things that we went through. We repaired Puerto Rico. That was the big thing. Did a whole lot else. But that is a glimpse at what $1 billion is. We still had so many options of amazing things that we could fund and do with just $100 million. And if you play yourself, you can make different choices and get a sense of what different things cost and see what endings you get. So really great game for understanding concepts of scale, for getting a sense of how capitalism distributes resources in the way that it does, and what is the fallout from that. I think we made it. I think we're done here. We got the true ending. Maybe we'll return to this another time. The next video will be a different game altogether, but really fun. I'm glad we did this under a half hour. That's a raucous good time for a half hour. Good to see everyone. Follow on all the things. Presumably you're watching on Twitch or YouTube or whatever it is. But yeah, do all the things. Love to see it. Thank you very much, and I'll see you at the next one. Keep the support going, and solidarity, comrades.